Okay, what up, friendos? Welcome back. A little bit late to this, but I did want to weigh in and give my 2 cents since I've covered pretty much all hacks involving North Korea in the cryptocurrency world, as well as just in the normal world. And having followed it for a pretty long time, I can give you some context, I guess, and give you some background on this. So basically, a couple days ago, February 21st, I believe, the cryptocurrency world suffered the largest financial hack in history. I'm talking like ever. $1.5 billion stolen in a matter of seconds. There one moment, gone another. And as we discover, as time goes on, reported by ZachXBT, of course, the undisputed go of investigating anything related to cryptocurrency fraud and hacks, this was yet again done by North Korea. How we figured that out is because this hack was eventually commingled with funds linked to another hack, and then linked to another hack, which were confirmed North Korean operatives. And what people, I guess, don't understand about this whole, North Korean hacking situation is just how big this group is and just how good they are and the progression. So if you followed the Lazarus group, which is what they're most commonly referred to from back in the day, they were like script kiddie, useless, just, we're running a really bad DDoS attack on South Korean infrastructure in 2009. And everyone was like, we don't have to be worried about these guys. And then they just continued to get better and better. And one of the reasons that they've continued to get better is that North Korea's put a lot of resources and effort into training these people. They take the best and the brightest and they send them to the best universities and schools in China from a young age. And then they just get trained to be just the best hackers out there. And what a lot of people don't understand is that where they operate, Bureau 39 in Pyongyang, they have thousands and thousands of these people split between two groups. One that's referred to as Blue Naroff, which is we're stealing money, we're spear phishing, corporations were phishing, we're developing ransomware, we're counterfeiting money, we're hacking cryptocurrency, we're doing everything we can to steal money. And then Andariel, which is basically we are just trying to bring down our enemies, predominantly South Korea, and then their allies, which obviously goes towards the United States of America and things like that. So one large group stealing money, another large group destabilizing their enemies. And obviously Blue Naroff is the group that most people are talking about whenever there's a financial hack, which has been just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more frequent, to the point where reported it from the BBC 2024, which was a relatively quiet year for hacks. Apparently they stole around $1.3 billion. North Korea stole around $1.3 billion. The biggest singular hack that I'm aware of that prior to this that was attributed to North Korea was the Ronin Bridge exploit, which was from the cryptocurrency game Axie Infinity. They had a bridge, which I don't want to get into the millionth explanation of what a bridge is, because I've done it about a million times, but you can Google what a bridge is very quickly, because I'm going to be explaining some other technical terms as we go into, and I don't want to get too off track with details I've gone over a million times. But basically, they emptied the bridge of people's stored funds, and this was around $500+ million. And obviously that's a real big deal. But this Bybit one is one of the most advanced exploits we're probably going to see, or at least have done to date. But it's one that's been done previously in exactly the same fashion. But as I lay it out for you, you're going to be like, whoa, these guys are not fucking around. And to steal $1.5 billion is insane. Just in a matter of minutes, it's gone. And luckily, to give you a bit of background on how bad this would be if Bybit were criminals, we only have to look at what's happened previously, right? Usually when a large hack happens at a cryptocurrency centralized exchange, the result is going to be that company goes bankrupt and it completely fucks everything, especially a company as big as Bybit. But luckily, it seems like Bybit aren't criminals because, like with FTX, what happens when a hack occurs or whenever any really bad news comes out, like, oh, they might be insolvent, meaning they don't have enough money to pay what they owe, they don't have operating funds, there will be a bank run. What is a bank run? Well, a centralized exchange basically functions exactly like a bank does. If I go and take my money out of the bank and I have it in my hand right now, I technically am in custody of my own money, right? But if I go and give it to a bank, they are in custody of my money. If everybody says, I want my money right now from the bank, that is a bank run. It's where they have to pay everybody out. And in that context, they might not have the cash on hand to pay people, which is going to cause real big issues, right? And usually what happens is a hack occurs or something bad happens to an exchange because people have given over their money to this centralized exchange to hold their or convert money or trade without having to worry about holding it themselves, which does cause problems. Usually people will say, we want our money back, and then they don't have enough money to give you because they just lost a whole bunch of it, or they're criminals, which again we saw with FTX. They were committing fraud. They were using people's money that should have been backed one-to-one. It wasn't. When people said, we want our money back, they said, oops, we don't have it. Unlucky. And then obviously multi-billion-dollar company just vanishes overnight. People start going to prison. And we are where we are. This has happened multiple times in cryptocurrency. One of the biggest examples is when Luna collapsed, and there was companies like Three Arrows Capital, which was a multi-billion-dollar investment firm who was basically displaying how incestuous the cryptocurrency world was, where everyone was having like uncollateralized loans between each other's companies, lending each other hundreds of millions, billions of dollars. And then when one person didn't have enough to pay people back and they started calling in those loans, the other people couldn't pay each other back. And then a bunch of companies collapsed, and it ended up wiping off like $1 trillion of the cryptocurrency market cap and almost devastating the industry. Loads of people lost their job. People lost their houses. You know, there was loss of human life. Really, really bad situation, as what would happen in any, financial situation where that much money just vanishes overnight because people are committing crimes. So Bybit, at the very least, when this bank run occurred and everyone started saying, oh, we need our money right now, give us our money, because they thought, oh, you're not going to have enough funds to pay everyone out, so we need to get ours out quick, so we're not the ones left holding the bag. Luckily, Bybit had all the money, so they processed all the transactions, 350,000 transactions. They've all been done. They moved $3 billion of USDT from a cold wallet to their warm wallet, stating, we've not been hacked again. Don't worry about it. And they've paid everybody back, as well as now they've done an audit showing that they have enough money, right? That they have enough money to be able to pay everyone. The loss of money is basically theirs and not for people to worry about. It wasn't customer funds. So that's good. And speaking about the stolen money, a lot of time when hacks occur or when money is stolen in cryptocurrency, the money is kind of like the crypto's gone and the crypto's stolen, but how much of that money actually can be converted into real world currency like US dollars or whatever else is quite low. And the reason for that is criminals think they're really smart, but in the vast majority of instances, getting crypto converted to real money leaves such a trail that the federal government will eventually find you. And when you're talking about like tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, there's going to be no mystery as to where that money is. People are going to be able to follow the majority of it. And as soon as it turns into a dollar bill, a lot of places are going to not have the volume to be able to give you the money if they're a criminal operation, which means you're going to need to use legit exchanges, which will have KYC, which is know your customer. It's an anti-money laundering regulatory thing that exists. And it's going to have to go into a bank account, which has got somebody's name on it and things like that. So a lot of the times when a normal criminal steals something in the crypto world, you can bet your bottom dollar that they're either connecting to something, giving their IP address up, or they've eventually put it into an account that links back to them, or they've spent the money somewhere and it's linked back to them. Whatever it's going to be, they're going to get discovered and caught in the vast majority of instances. The problem when it comes to like a nation state or a threat actor in a place like Russia, for instance, is that it doesn't make a difference if you know who the person is, because you can't do anything to them. They can do whatever they want with the money, and some of it will be recovered. Usually around 5 to 15% of the money will be frozen and recovered, because they're basically just spraying the money in as many places as they can, as quickly as they can, as cleverly as they can, so that they can get as much converted into like either untraceable currency, or cash, and get it off these platforms that either aren't watching, aren't aware, or are just facilitating criminal enterprise. And in that process, some of it's going to get caught up, right? Some of it's going to get frozen by centralized exchanges and things like that, from people like ZachXBT tracking it and reporting it to those exchanges. Realistically, they're going to get, over the next year or two, they're going to get the majority of that money out. And you can't do anything because they're just in North Korea. You can't arrest them, can you? They're just there. And it's the same thing when like a big Russian ransomware operation or something like that happens. You can say you've put sanctions on them. You can put them on a list so that if they go anywhere outside Russia, if you have a partner country or whatever that they go to, you can arrest them, which is typically what happens. But if they're just in Russia or just in, China or just in whatever country you don't have an extradition agreement with, they just stay there and they just commit the crime, and you can't do anything about it. It's just how this shit works. So with North Korea, there isn't really anything you can do other than try to recover as much money as you can on the blockchain, and then just hope that it doesn't happen again, which it always does, and it seems like it's bigger and bigger every single time. So this is the original wallet that performed the attack, and the way that this attack occurred is incredibly advanced. It's too advanced for me to really sit and explain and to go through. There's a good write-up here of exactly technically how it worked, and what you can see, basically, some people have asked, what's a cold wallet, what's a hot wallet, what's a warm wallet. I'll do two of them here because this is important. When a hack usually occurs on like a centralized exchange or whatever, which is what Bybit is, it will typically be on the hot wallets, because let's say you want to store cryptocurrency for the short to long term, that you want to be as safe as possible. If you're an individual like me, for instance, you'd use like a non-networked laptop. You'd get a brand new laptop that has got no malicious software on it. You'd install a cryptocurrency wallet that's had no transactions done on it, a fresh wallet. You'd then transfer the cryptocurrency to it. You'd unnetwork it, and you'd go and store it somewhere. And that basically removes the element of somebody hacking you while you're online, or installing a keylogger, or you signing a malicious transaction on chain that gives people access to your funds, or you accidentally sending something you shouldn't do if you're interacting with it all the time. That would be what is referred to as a cold storage, and that will be like, for instance, using a Ledger wallet or something like that. Centralized exchanges use this as well, and same thing, that would be a cold wallet. If you're interacting with the wallet all the time, it's networked, it's being used constantly, it's having transactions go back and forth, that would be a hot wallet. And then there is an in-between, which they're referring to as a warm wallet, which I never see people use, but it is what it is. When you're also like a large exchange that's storing billions of dollars of currency, you will also use multi-sigs, a multi-signature system, which is, we've assigned X amount of people that if we want to do anything with this wallet, we need a certain number of those people, maybe all of them, to sign the transaction. So that means if one of our wallets that's on the signature gets compromised, all of them aren't compromised. This is such a crazy hack that basically they somehow figured out every single multi-sig, every single wallet that had to sign this, and simultaneously infected all of them at the same time. So basically, I mean, it's fucking wild, but this has happened before as well. This exact hack has happened before. The cold wallet was using Gnosis Safe multi-signature system, and they were doing a regular scheduled, we're going to transfer some of the Ethereum on this cold wallet to a warm wallet, as like an in-between. The North Korean hackers, they'd figured out, according to this, using malware, phishing, or a supply chain compromise to access the devices, identified all the multi-sigs. Then when the signers saw on their screens, they saw an actual legit thing that they were all seeing that was exactly what they wanted. So they all read it, they saw it, they said, okay, let's sign, click the button. What they actually signed was not what they were looking at. And what they actually signed was giving over full control of this cold wallet to the North Korean hackers. And then they immediately... So this is the original wallet, and as you can see, this is the transaction where they actually called sweep Ethereum, and they transferred 401,346 Ethereum from the Bybit cold wallet to what is now labeled as the Bybit exploiter. And then obviously from there, you could go and take a look and see there's just tons of transactions sending money in the hundreds of thousands of dollars between thousands of different wallets, and that's just how this shit goes. They have the code breakdown here of exactly what happened. Not a coder, so this is completely useless to me. But obviously they explain, you know, exactly what happened. If you want like a super technical breakdown, here it is if you want to go read it. The fact that all of the multi-sigs were just sat looking at the same screen that they thought was legit, that they wanted to do, and they all saw it and they all clicked, yep, we're doing that right now, and it was something totally different, which resulted in $1.5 billion just vanishing, is, I mean, that's fucking scary, right? Because this is, as pointed out in this article, all the things that everyone thought was like moderately safe, you know, as safe as what everyone else is using. Some of the smartest minds in crypto, the people that have literally built half this industry, some of the biggest companies, these multi-billion-dollar companies with some real intelligent people working at them, they're getting got. And of course, this is just what Lazarus Group have been doing and what they will continue doing. And they're just getting better and better at it. And they're just stealing more and more money as years go on. So just goes to show nobody's safe with this shit. And the cryptocurrency market is probably going to see more and more of this as time goes on. By the way, that's my coverage of this. Hopefully I answered some of your questions, and we'll follow and see if there's like a more layman breakdown of this, as well as what happens with the money. Realistically, nobody's going to be caught for this. Again, they've stolen at this point $3 or $4 billion that I'm aware of, and nothing ever happens. Like, they get put on a list. They get put on the FBI most wanted list. They get put on, you know, the OFAC list of being financial criminals and blah, blah, blah. But they're in North Korea. Unless you go in there and get them, then, you know, what's going to happen? Nothing. So there we go. Thanks for watching as always. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Stay safe. Peace.